This is a line to get into Huayna Picchu.
We're really in no hurry. We don't need to be at the front of the line, do we?
No, and that's a llama.
And that's a llama. Or as they say here, and if you want to sound pretentious,
Llama.
llama. Kind down there, here's the hike we're doing up to Huayna Picchu. We go over that little thing and then up that hill. It's pretty cool. And you can see the beautiful mountains around here. And down there you can sort of see some old Inca terraces that they've recently uncovered. So they said that this whole mountain here probably is covered in Inca terraces. They just haven't uncovered it. So here we are a little bit up the ways on Huayna Picchu. And how are you enjoying it?
It's fine. It's a little tough.
It's a little tough. So what we do is, this hike is essentially these stairs up this mountain for about an hour. So you just go up these stairs. They're kind of steep. They're kind of big. And I imagine they've been reconstructed, but I imagine this is the original Inca path that they took up to the ruins that we're heading up to, up at the top of this mountain, which overlooks Machu Picchu. And as you hike up here, you can see these walls, and to me they do look like Inca construction. So some of them have obviously been reconstructed lower, but this one looks to me original. I don't see any of the marks that would indicate that's a reconstruction. So I think this is actually, they found the path that the Incas had built, this rock carving, putting the stones together. I don't know if that's original, but I think the path is just amazing. But as you can see, it just keeps going up and up and up. We're, I don't know, maybe about halfway up this mountain. And you can see Machu Picchu actually in the distance over there, all those terraces that exist. It looks a lot different from this angle. Even though it's pretty well developed trail, it can be really treacherous. I mean, it's wet, slippery rocks. You go up, I mean, there's steps and everything, but really, it's, I think, fairly treacherous climbing up here after a rain. Now, it hasn't rained on us, but it rained last night pretty hard. And you can see the trail is still wet. It's just even more a little bit treacherous. I mean, look up here. It's very sheer, wet, and steep. I don't know that you really get an idea how steep it is looking at it like this. But it's, I mean, it's very, would you say it's steep, babe?
It's steep and slippery.
Yes. And then there's this, so here we are at the ruins at the top of this mountain. And as you can see, they go up there. There's a house way up at the top, you can see. So, we go up these little old Inca steps. And then, this side, and then up that way, some more ruins. And then down. And then there's this citadel up here. I mean, they call it a citadel. They said it was a guardhouse, essentially, where they would get a great view of Machu Picchu, which is right there through the clouds. The trails that lead in, it would just give them a really good strategic view of everything in the area. At least that's what our guide yesterday, I imagine, was a sort of guard station here, or a lookout, because the view here is amazing. You go down to the river and see that whole area. You can see that's the road actually that goes up to Machu Picchu. That's the bridge the bus takes. That's the road right there. We're looking at it from above. And then there is Machu Picchu. So the original Inca trail that people take, that goes to the Gate of the Sun, goes up through that little notch in the ridge up there and comes down. There's another trail that goes along that mountain there, along the actual side of it, dug in that through those clouds right now. That would be the Inca Bridge Trail, and then they all lead to Machu Picchu. So this would just be an incredible place to see everything, to keep a view of everything. So I guess that's why they think this was built and used as a guard station. So here near the top, you actually go through this cave or tunnel. You got to get down pretty low. It does get dark in here. Ooh. You're just gonna have to get down low, baby. Here, take my camera. Okay. There you go. Well, we made it out of that little cave. And then here we are with more steps going. Enjoying yourself up here at the top of the mountain? Almost top. There's the very top. We're going to go right up there.
Yeah, it's really tough though.
And
that little cave is not fun. You go through like a little 10, 15 foot cave. You get a little claustrophobic. We're starting to get a little panicky.
so there's you can really barely see Machu Picchu down there through those clouds. And then there's this sort of little Inca structure up here. There's stuff down there that's that was right down there, that sort of little guard area, that lookout that I think they used. And here's another lookout over here. Then there's one of their stereotypical or typical buildings from the Machu Picchu with the A-frame type roof and the trapezoidal windows. And they obviously probably use that to sleep in and stuff. These terraces here apparently are not for agriculture, but for stability. They put them in to stop erosion. And think about it, a few hundred years later, this place was abandoned in the 1500s. A few hundred years later, 500 years later, it's still pretty much in the same shape it was. And now here we are, sort of at the top. It was really, really crowded up there. And they only allow 200 people in for each showing, but for each, well, 400 people a day. One group at 8, one group at 11. So this is the back side of Huayna Picchu, but lots of clouds. You really can't see much except over there. You can see a little in Machu Picchu. Now we're here on the back side of Machu Picchu mountain, and this is a trail that leads to something called the Great
Huayna Picchu.
Huayna Picchu, right. And it's a trail that leads to something called the Great Caves. It's interesting. I do believe it's an actual old Inca trail because you have the bricks in there that look original. This trail actually, I think, is pretty much the original Inca trail that went to this place. And I think they've done a little bit of restoration. They've cleared out the vegetation, obviously. We just had a little bit of a rainstorm, so here. We're in our rain gear, gaiters, waterproof pants, waterproof jacket, waterproof hat, and we got all that going on, and we'll see what happens. But it's pretty cool. We're pretty much the only people back here. When we were hiking up on the front part of the trail, and there's a way to go back that way, it's shorter. It was very crowded. At the top, it was a mob scene. But here we've seen essentially one other hiker. And she passed us a ways ago, so it's pretty much just us back here on this mountain. Really, really cool. So there's this ladder. At this point, you have to climb down a wood ladder, and it's going to be really slippery because it's been raining. We just came down that ladder. How'd you like that?
That was a little scary.
It was a little bit scary,
Yeah.
and it's wood and it's wet. And it's slippery. It was a little bit scary, but we managed to do it. And then this ecosystem is called a cloud forest. And well, as you can see, we're still in the clouds. And the rain has stopped, but obviously there's still some. I think you can hear it. There's some drops still just falling from the plants. I love this tree. We are probably about 10 minutes away from this site that we're hiking to. We have seen exactly 8 other people on this trail, and this trail is attached to Machu Picchu. So 400 people a day have the option of doing this trail. Based on what we saw today, I would estimate that maybe 20 of those actually go do it. So we're pretty much alone here. That is an original Inca trail that there's a guy with a machete that comes every day. We just saw him, he passed us, he keeps it clear. So we're literally walking on an Inca trail that very few people get to do. Or an Inca road, whatever, you hear it both ways. So this is the temperate forest, the temperate cloud. We just came out of that path, and into this sort of open area here that you can see, and there's some structures. So this is some old Inca structures that really they've cleared them out a little bit. Here, they've cleared them out a little bit, but not completely. So we'll go down there in a little bit, but there's some kind of fascinating. So inside here, there's no cave at the end, but it's sort of cave-like. I don't know if maybe that's why they call it the cave. You have, again, these doorways, trapezoidal shape, classic Inca architecture. And then inside you have these alcoves. You see the same type of alcoves very commonly in places like Machu Picchu, and they would put in these deities or statues or things like that to represent the gods, or they actually think they are gods. And then you have the doors. There's another door here. So there is the one door there. There's a door, door, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these indentations where they would put a god or a statue or something important to them. And we're the only people here. So it turned out that building wasn't the cave. This is the cave. I'm in the cave. And inside the cave you can see Inca construction here with the flashlight. And there's a guy that works at this place. I think he just sort of makes sure people don't do anything bad in here. And just goes, I imagine this had some kind of ritual significance. And the reason I say that is because you've got here, the flashlight, hold on. This is some really impressive construction. Really impressive. Waka? See? So this is those wakas, those deities would be put. And look at this great construction here. Mummies? See?
Adornos?
Mm-hmm. Idols.
Idol.
Idols, yeah. Huacas, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So they would put idols, huacas, in these. This is like, Machu Picchu, or there's no mortar in here. They got these great carved rocks. There's another one of these. This is the Temple de la Luna.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So Temple of the Moon God. Wow. And there's the cave. So we are here at the, well, this is the trail out of that place they call the Temple of the Moon that we were just in, where the big cave is. And it's interesting. Walking up the trail, which is over here, we find this little cave. And see those white deposits there? Now, I'm no expert, but what I am almost positive that those are guano, that is bat droppings. And if we went into that cave, I bet we would see some bats. Looks like a nice little cave for a little group of bats. And I bet there's plenty of insects for bats to feed upon here in this forest. So this trail is really steep. I think we're about 300 meters at the thing below Machu Picchu, so we got to climb up another 300 meters just to break even. And here in the cloud. So here we are near the end of our hike. It took forever going up those stairs. Yeah. There's Machu Picchu over there. You can sort of see the terraces. It's a little bit blocked, and then interesting, see, we're really on the side of a mountain. You can just look down here, and this trail is essentially built into this cliff, because it's a straight fall down there. And then so the trail then goes around here, and then up there, you can't really see the stairs, but they're in the greenery up there. You can sort of see them over there a little bit. And then so we go up over that little mountain, and then back to Machu Picchu. So that is the end of our little hike. And here, why don't you get a little shot of me, the end of our little hike. Bye-bye.